Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another one of my favorite videos to create here on the platform, which is 4 indie palettes for different looks. We are gonna dive into 4 brand new smoking hot indie palettes to the market. I'm gonna do 4 different eye looks. I'm gonna show you some swatches. I'm gonna let you know about my favorite, and honestly, we're just gonna have fun. I love playing with makeup. These videos are not meant to be a QVC shop with me kind of a thing. This is not meant for me to tell you which palettes are new that you need to go out and buy. This is just me telling you what palettes that I have from indie brands in my collection that are new and hot and fun, and I'm showing you some swatches and I'm showing you a demo with each palette, and then you let me know. Maybe you have something similar in your collection that you can shop your stash and just recreate the looks. This could just be a 4 tutorials inspiration kind of a video, or maybe you were actually interested in any of these palettes and you wanted to see some swatches, you wanted to hear some thoughts, and you wanted to see a demo to see if maybe one of these palettes could be the one for you. I do have the palette that I'm wearing right now. It's the Enchantment from Ensley Rain. I also have the Beauté Bejeweled palette. I have the Jingle Ruby from DeDe Signature, and I have the What's Up Beauty, I think it's called Dragon Eye. I'm fairly sure it's called Dragon Eye. Yes, it says it on the back, Dragon Eye. These are the 4 palettes that I have. I got all of these 4 palettes in PR. With these 3 brands, I do have a code. My code is Angelica, and you can get 10% off at checkout. And if you do use my code, thank you so much for supporting my channel. But if you want to use somebody else's code, that's perfectly fine as well. Just remember to use a code at checkout so that you can get some money off. This video is not sponsored by any of these brands. They do not know that I make these videos. I just honestly picked the 4 palettes that have been coming in that I think are the most fun to play with, and just honestly have fun. I always divide these into chapters down below as well so that you can skip between the looks if there was a palette that you wanted to see maybe first, if there was something you wanted to see again. So that will also be with timestamps down below together with the codes and links and info about these palettes if you are interested. But other than that, just see this as inspiration of 4 somewhat colorful looks that you might be able to recreate. So let's jump in to look number 1. So we're diving into the Bejeweled palette as my first palette, and this theme is like a red, purple, blue, green, almost like one row of each. This is like a black to a red duochrome, very pretty. So I kind of want to do red to purple, blue on the lid. I'm even wearing this super blue, like I love this kind of a color, top again. And I think I'm going to do some green shimmer on the lower lash line to really like, I can't use all the colors in the palette, obviously, but I can do the full color scheme. And that's what I'm thinking. So I think I'm going to start with Amethyst in my outer corner. I was going to say the crowd has decided. It's literally me and my dog here. Do you agree with me, Tesla? Is that okay? Silence is approval. So I'm just going to start with that out here. Oh, I'm so happy to be using this palette. I love Beauté Bar, and I'm just so excited. Look at that. So I'm gonna do, like I said, the purple out here, and then I'm gonna use the red next to it. Wow, that is pigmented. Ooh, need to calm down. And then I'm gonna deepen it up even more with Charwhite. Really don't know what that is, but I'm sure it's a really pretty stone. And oh, this is so pigmented. It's almost like, huh? I need to blend this out a bit. I don't have anything that's lighter to blend this out with, so I'm just gonna buff on the edge with a somewhat clean EO4. I might use a little bit of the pink tourmaline just on the edge. But yeah, I will say, if you have a lighter skin tone like me, I am wearing a light medium foundation. I'm actually wearing the Fenty Beauty in number 9 today. If you have a lighter skin tone, you might either need to spend some time blending. I do think that that looks okay. Or maybe bring in like a transition color, because this is more of a darker palette. But again, I mean, I'm not mad about it. I do love darker colors. But I feel like this one, oh, this would be... This one together with their pastel palette, oh, that would be such a good combo. Or if you have another pastel palette, of course, as well. It doesn't have to be theirs, but ooh, that would be so nice. Mixing a really dark palette together with a lighter palette is a really good tip if you want to get some extra use out of palettes that have, I don't want to say a limiting color story, because it doesn't have a limiting color story, but it has a specific depth of shadows. So I think that this looks really good. It's a little shoppy here, and it is mainly because I wanted to use this palette on its own and not use, I'm gonna use Cherry Opal and not use a transition shade. But I definitely think there's nothing wrong with the quality. These are just darker and more pigmented to really be best used on their own. But this one together with, again, a pastel palette or just transition shade would be amazing. But sometimes you kind of have to try. Sometimes you kind of have to do to just see on your own. Am I filming? Yes. What is doable and what is not. So I'm just using this red shade now. And I'm gonna blend this one out. It's not as dark as the purple. And blend it into the purple too. And there is a darker red called Garnet, and I am gonna be using a little bit of that just here to deepen up a little bit where these meet. Again, I'm just trying to get the purple and the red to kind of blend together and make sense. So this is the darker Garnet that's going in between in the middle. You can see here, and I'm just blending them together. I am going to use these exact same shades under my eyes as well. Like I said, I'm going to be using a little bit of like green shimmer, but I think that having the consistency of the mattes, oh my god, this is so pigmented, on the top and the bottom is probably going to help. I still have not deepened up with a darker one, and I don't even know if I need to. This is very, very dark. And I'm not going to put the red all the way into the inner corner because, like I said, we're putting some of the green shimmer there. So before we jump into shimmers, let me just show you. We've been using these two reds. We've been using this purple, and then I blended out a little bit with this one. And now we're going to use this one that's very, very dark. And I'm just going to use that to deepen up a little bit in my outer corner before we jump in. Look at that. Before we jump in to some of the shimmers, and we're going to do blue on the top lid and green on the bottom. I mean, I gotta say, these mattes are very, very, very pigmented and beautiful. Okay, so I'm thinking blue sapphire to make it really blue, and we'll just see how that looks on basically. And then I'm thinking, is that a duochrome? Because I kind of want to do, maybe I'll do emerald. Yeah, let's do emerald and blue sapphire. I don't know, I just want to keep it, I was gonna say classic, I don't know if that is what this is, but non-multichrome, that's what we're doing. So let's do blue sapphire. Oh, this looks, I mean, I was gonna say I love a color like this, and you're like, bitch, we can see, we've got eyes. So let's put that in the middle here. That is very nice. I'm just gonna put this on the entire lid, not in the absolute outer corner, but on the lid. And then we're just gonna buff the edges a little bit. Wowza. I'm using a little extra product and I'm just buffing on the edges a little bit to make these blend a little bit. And then I'll go back to the EO4 that I had before, and I'm gonna use a little bit more of the red color. And again, I'm putting that on the edge just to make it somewhat go together. I actually really like that, and maybe a little bit more of that dark purple out here to make it make sense. It really is a jewel tone though, but this is a dark palette. It's not, if you don't like dark shadows, maybe this one isn't for you. So this is Emerald, and we are just gonna put that here. And like I said, just a little bit on the lower lash line, meeting up with what we had going on. It's really fun to be able to like actually reproduce the color story of the palette in a look, even though we're not using like all the shades. To brighten this up a little bit, I think I'm gonna use white in my waterline because I feel like that's gonna help. I'm actually also gonna reach in, like I said, you can use any pastel palette, but I'm gonna reach into my palette with Oden's Eye, and I am gonna do the light blue shade in the inner corner because I feel like that's, I mean, that is what I'm looking for. Something light blue, but this is ghoulish, but of course, like I said, you can do any kind of pastel blue, or even pastel, a pastel pink would work, a pastel green would work. Like honestly, a white, there's so much you could be using. Let me add on a little bit more lip gloss. This is from Glamlight and Strawberry Shortcake collection. It's still my favorite lip product that Glamlight has ever done, this lip gloss. It's so nice. But yeah, this is the look. I think it looks super cute. Let me put on some falsies and we can have a fine look. So this is the finished look right here, and I really, really do love it. I think it looks super cute. Yeah, you tell them, Tesla. You tell them. But yeah, I think it looks really cool. It's very, very dramatic though. And with this palette, like just using a bunch of these shades, and I just realized I did not do any B-roll of this palette before touching it. So the B-roll that you're seeing is after me touching it. I'm sorry, I fingered it. It happened, okay? But this palette has beautiful colors, and so far the shades that I used are the typical like Bella Beauté bar formula that I know and just really, really love. But it's also a very dark palette. You might not be able to get a lot of looks that are not super dramatic out of this palette if you have, again, a fair to light to medium skin tone and you don't use it together with something else. Quality is great though, but they are pigmented. I really do enjoy it. So let's get into look number 2. So the packaging of this palette is truly 10 out of 10. Like, it's so gorgeous. The inside is still purple and green, but it's leaning way more neutral than I was kind of hoping with this bold of a packaging. But I am gonna see if I can just make a purple green look out of this. So we're gonna start with this one, and I'm gonna be using this one. This is a purple to blue to green multi-chrome, and we're gonna be using a little bit of this one to Monster, probably Spikes to blend it out. And we're just gonna see if we really, and this is what I like to do. I like to see how bold can we go. If we have a palette, how dramatic can the palette go if we really go for it? And that is what I'm gonna do with this palette. So I'm starting with the Powerful, which is the somewhat purpley matte. And we are gonna apply that in the crease and then blend it out with that Spikes shades, which was the more pinky one. The What's Up Beauty mattes are very finely milled, which sometimes can be really good because it makes them like really easy to blend, but it also sometimes can make the shadows lose a little bit of grip and make them not be as pigmented on the eyes and as like buildable. I prefer a shadow that has a little bit more a grip to it, but I know that there's a lot of people that prefer those like super smooth and silky shades. So if you're that person, just know that What's Up Beauty really do have those like super silky mattes. So this is the color Spikes, the more mauvey mid-tone shade, and we are just gonna blend a little with this. Ooh, I hear the yard workers are getting closer. If you can hear a leaf blower in the background, that's what's going on. I don't think the microphone is gonna pick this one up though. We'll see. I'm gonna do a little bit on the lower lash line too. And just blend out this edge a bit. I mean, I think it looks really good. I was definitely able to build it up to the darkness that I want, but I also did start with the darkest color. But again, my mission is to see how bold can we go. I definitely think that this is leaning on the purple side, maybe a little bit more on the muted, like dusty, purpley mauve, but still on that side. So let's do scales. And you can see here, yeah, like purple, blue, green. Let's do that one, and I am gonna spray it because I want to put it on the middle of the lid and a little bit towards the outer part, and then we'll do the dusty purple metallic next to it. So let's start in the middle. And yeah, you can definitely see that it has like a purple shift to it. I'm just pushing it in on the lid where I want it to be. And then I'm gonna meet up with a little bit of that purpley matte on the outer part. I don't know if that turned out good or bad. I do think that that looks pretty good, right? I feel so. Just adding on a little bit more of the matte. So this is the shade Monster, which is more of a purple. I will say with this green, I think that this green is darker than any of the mattes in this palette, which makes it a little harder to use, according to me, when there's nothing to like ground the shimmer with, except the shimmer itself. I think like this palette might have benefited from one more like dark color together with these like more murky shimmers, but that looks really pretty together. I just feel like it's missing a little bit of darkness out here because nothing is like dark enough. But I do really like look at how it goes from the lavender to the green and then it goes into the purple. You can see it even better here. Lavender and then comes the green and then like the purple again. I mean, that looks really beautiful. I think the shimmers are incredible. The mattes are just not my absolute favorite. Again, personal preference. It's just a personal preference and I would have wanted something darker. I want to use like an inner corner highlight. I think I'm gonna dip into my own palette because this is how the look would look if you only did it with the palette, but I'm gonna dive into the lavender here. I might even do a little bit of this one, the super dark one. Okay, I'm really cheating here, but you see what the look is now. I just want to deepen it up a little bit more. And Licorice really is that babe. And this is Skeleton, which is the lavender matte. Just to lighten up a little bit. And don't forget, if you have more palettes at home, you can always mix and match palettes that you have with new palettes or like just shop your stash. And remember that just because someone on YouTube only does a look with like one palette, which is what I usually do, it doesn't mean that you have to. You can always go into another palette and find something that you're looking for. For me, I feel like this made the look even better. Really enjoying this. Okay, let me finish this up and I'll be right back. I used a little bit of the Oden's eye. I think it's called Avocado. I don't know. It's number 6 in my waterline to keep the green a little bit more like prevalent in the look. I really do like how this turned out, but of course I did also use an inner corner highlight and something deeper in the outer corner from another palette, but I did like the look before as well. And I think for me, the biggest complaint in this palette is probably that there is, for the cover, there's not enough of those colors, especially in the mattes represented, but it also is very much the aesthetics of What's Up Beauty to do the neutral crease with the colorful shimmers. They've done that before. The leaf blower is really loud in the background. I'm really hoping that is not picking up. I would have wanted an inner corner highlight here. I think you can use this one as an inner corner highlight though, but again, I like a matte inner corner highlight. That's a personal preference though. You saw how easy it was for me to literally reach for a palette that was within my grasp and just use that one. I really do enjoy the look though. I think it looks super pretty, and I feel like the look that I did very much represents the cover, so it's definitely doable. Let me know what you think about this one, and let's get into the next one. So many color combos in this one that I could do. I love the reds and the duochrome purpley plum shades. Love it. But I did something like that recently. Not exactly like that, but something similar to that with my own palette with Oden's Eye. So I think I'm gonna play with these. And I want to play with this one, Crispy Trees and Crispy Holidays. Lots of crispy things going on here. Olive Penguins. Gotta say, I love that name. It's so unhinged in the best way possible. I'm gonna start with this one, Noel Night, and I think I'm just gonna use these two as well. Oh, did I get some shimmers in the matte when I swatched it? Oopsie. But I'm gonna be using these 3 mattes, and you know what? We'll just see what we can do. I do know from before, from using this brand, that I love the shimmers, like the duochrome, the metallics. And I like the mattes. They're not bad, but they're a little, you can see they're a little thinner than some other mattes that I've used. They don't layer perfectly on top of each other, but they're definitely doable. You just need to be aware to start with the shade that you want to be the most like prominent in the look. And for me, that is this mid-tone green that I'm just putting in the middle. And I think I'm just gonna blend a little bit of that up here in the upper part of the crease. Why is it so dark behind me? Oh, because I didn't light one of the lights. Hold. So now I'm gonna go in with the darkest green, and we are gonna put that in the outer corner. And yeah, like I said, I think that you're definitely able to make these colors pigmented, but you kind of have to be aware to not layer them too much on each other. That is looking really nice though. And I'm gonna build that up here in the outer part of my crease. That looks really, really nice. And then we can do that. It's called Bright Ruby, and it is a lime green. You know what? Again, I'm loving the unhingedness of these names. We're gonna do that in the inner part. Let me see if I can use these under my eyes as well, because I think I'm gonna do a matte lower lash line and just the shimmers on top. So this is the lighter one that's called Bright Ruby, which is such a fun name for a lime green. Again, I am mesmerized by the choice of names in this palette. I'm gonna put that on the lid and in the inner part of the crease, just blending up a little bit. I might even put it, I'm going to the movies today and I am gonna look fierce. I'm seeing that new, is it called Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes or Snakes and Songbirds? One of the two. The new, it's like a origin story of President Snow in the Hunger Games. The book, 10 out of 10, such a good book. Cannot recommend it enough. And I am so excited to be seeing the movie. It literally premiered as I'm filming this. It premiered yesterday and I'm seeing it today, and I loved the book so well. I thought it was such an interesting origin story because it wasn't the kind of origin story that you usually see. How does a good person become bad? This was something totally different. More of a realizing that this person might have been bad all along. And just how the traits got like just blowed up. This is so interesting. I cannot wait to see how the movie is made. And we're going to the Alamo Draft House. I'm gonna get snacks, maybe even a drink. I am all about this life. And I am apparently gonna be going as an actual snake. Thank you very much. So I'm gonna start with the lighter green, the Crispy Holidays. It has a little bit of like almost like a purple plum teal shift thingamajig, but it's like green at the front. Is this like almost out? Can you see how little is left of this one? It is soon to be leaving this earth. Where do I even put this to get some? Maybe this is like out after this video. I'm gonna put this in the middle. Ooh, that is super cool. And the same on the other side, and then I'm gonna use that darker green on the edge. This looks so cool. I'm excited. I also dug up one of the Kaleidos lip clays. This one is in Skinship. That's what I have on my lips today. Thought it was cool. It's been a while since I used one of these Kaleidos ones, and I felt like today was the day. So this is the color Crispy Trees, and it's a little bit more like, almost like a blue going to it. This is so out. Blue going to like a turquoise, going to a bright green. I'm just gonna put a little bit of that here. You can see it just, oh, that is so pretty. I'm just doing a little bit on the outer half here. Wow. That is gonna be so cute. And I'm actually gonna go back and I'm gonna use an even smaller brush, if I can find here. It's an EO2, and I'm gonna use the Santa's tree again, which is that dark green that we had. And I'm just gonna be stamping that on the absolute outer corner, because I don't like having shimmers in this little wedge here. I feel like that just makes my eyes look a little wrinkly. That looks so cute. Ooh, am I gonna do white in my waterline? I think I will. I have the Tarte one here somewhere. I think I'll do white in my waterline. But look at that. Is that not? Oh, I'm excited. I mean, there's no denying that this eye look turned out really pretty. I'm super excited about this look. It did take a little bit of a turn though. It's very dramatic. I do like how all of this is looking, but like I said in the beginning when I started working with the mattes, these mattes are really good as long as you don't expect them to build and build and build on top of each other. They won't necessarily all of them do that, but if you work on them on their own on a base, you're able to do a really good result and you'll have no problems. I think that is the case with a lot of eyeshadows. It's not about like whether or not they're perfect, it's more about like, are you able to change up your technique to work with them? And if you're not, then maybe check into a brand that you're able to do everything with. I will say the shimmers though are absolutely incredible. Like the duochromes are that kind of a wet looking, sparkly, without being glittery, without being chunky. And it's like, you can make it a topper and still make it look nice, but you can also build it up and make it opaque. Really, really like this kind of a formula. So yeah, overall, I really do enjoy it. And now let's get into the last look. It is time to do something with the Ensley Rain lens of Enchantment. And honestly, I kind of don't know what I want to do. I feel like I need to figure it out. I want to do something mint. I feel like that is where I'm at. Do we want to do that, like a tealy mint thing? I can even use... What am I doing? Maybe I'll do it more green with the green shades here and this dark here. I kind of want to start with this one though, because I don't want this look to be fully pastel. I want it to be like a little bit of everything. So we're gonna start with oh my play Idian. That could be it. It could also not be it. But we are gonna start with that one. Ooh, that picks up more than I expected. And I am just gonna hope that this is the same good quality that we have had from them from before. Ooh, I think I picked up a little bit too much. And we're just gonna plop this in the outer corner. Because like I said, I don't want this to be an all pastel look. That is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a that is a fiber, a well-balanced look of pastels and darker shades. And we are gonna see how the pastels from this brand is, because I really like the other palette I've tried from the brand. I thought the mattes and the shimmers were absolutely incredible. So this is basically me trying out the brand to see, was that a lucky coincidence? Or is this actually a really good brand? And I, just from using this one, have a sneaking suspicion that this is a really good brand. I used a little bit under my eyes as well, and so far so good. So we're gonna play a little bit with Awakening and Paradise, which are the lighter shadows. And this is the first time that I am trying a lighter shade like this from this brand. So I have only tried the darker mattes from Ensley Rain, because in the, I have something that's itching. In the, what was it called? The one with the mushroom? Harvest Moon. In that palette, so this is Awakening, they only had dark mattes. So I've never, ooh, that looks very promising. I've never tried any lighter mattes from them. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to try this palette, because I want to see, can they make lighter mattes too? They're not as pigmented, the lighter ones, which is normally the case, but they still are very beautiful. And you can tell they're like really showing up. Yeah, these are really nice shades. I am gonna be blending out this edge because, like I said, we want to keep this a little greeny mint. That is so cute. Are you kidding me? Look at that. So effortless. Okay, I'm so excited. Let me put on a little bit more of that color that I cannot pronounce. I'm so sorry. And we are just gonna be blending the edge out a little bit. Don't forget, it's always a good idea to go in between colors to add and blend, especially if you want a blend between two shadows where one is like a lot darker than the other, or if there's two colors that are very different from each other. But I think that that blend looks really good. I'm gonna add that on the lower lash line too. And we need to figure out, I'm gonna use that lighter one, Paradise, in my inner corners, but you know what we need to figure out? What are we doing for shimmers? Because there is a lot of incredible looking shimmers in this palette. Do we want to do like a contrast? Do we want to do a duochrome? Do we want to do one of the hollow ones? Yee! I am excited. Also, I'm still wearing my PJs. I will change before I finish up. So I've been swatching two of the shadows. They're a little bit more on the teal side. This is like a blue to a mint, and it has like a tan base, and it's this one here. this one here, and then the other one is the one that's over here. So this is Shattered Stars. I think this would work really well. And then it's this one that's called True Essence. But this one has like a little bit of hollow to it. And I'm thinking we might do that. This is like a lavender to a mint with hollow in it. So I'm thinking we might do that because I want to try the hollow. This is a little, like, this is the hollow. It's a little flaky, but I think if we spray it, we can really make that work. Like, look at that, right? I think we have decided. So I did spray this one a little bit, like I said, to keep it from being flaky on the eyes. But we are gonna go in little by little. It can sometimes be a little harder with some of these shadows that are a little bit more flaky, to make sure that it's not too flaky on the eyes. And I have too long nails to be able to use my fingers. That's why I don't. I just flat up don't. So I'm not putting it in my inner corner, but I am covering pretty much the entirety of the lid. And one of the ways to lift my lid here, even though I have, you can see a pretty heavy fold here, is to try and disperse it a little bit above the crease. It just tricks the eye to make my fold look like it's disappearing because it's kind of getting lost in a little bit of the color. So try when you're trying to open up your eye, if you have a fold, make sure to go a little bit above the fold with whatever you're doing. Honestly, it's really gonna help to trick people to seeing, because now you see the fold that's here, it's gone. And it looks like I have even more lid space, even though this is the actual situation of that eye as well. So this is the shade Paradise, and I'm gonna use that in my inner corners, but I think that this looks really nice. I like the mint approach. Ooh. And I like that I did a almost monochromatic look, and that I was able to utilize one of those really pretty hollow shades that I think a lot of people will really enjoy for this holiday season, because they are like just a way to make your look even more sparkly and fun with the hollow particles. I don't know if they show too much in like direct light, but they are very impactful in like when you have them, especially in low light, if you go to a dinner or if you go to a candlelit like holiday thing, or like on a date to a nightclub. I know I'm not at nightclubs, but who knows. I'm using a little bit more of Awakening. I'm just gonna push a little bit more on so we don't lose it when we brushed on the shimmer. But that is the look. I really like it, and I think it's safe to say that the Harvest Moon by Ensley, I'm gonna use a mint liner, was not a one-trick pony. They actually do be having some really, really dope shades. Oh, and I'm wearing one of the lip glosses as well. Where did I put it? Here. I got this one actually in PR when I got the Harvest Moon, but I forgot to use it. This is the Rain of Shine, and it is in Harvest Moon. Oh, it's the Harvest Moon shade. It's like a warm mid-tone pink. A little gel-like in formula. Actually, it's very comfortable. Okay, so there we are. This is the fourth and final look, and I am very excited about this look. What is my favorite palette? They all are like so different. That is a good question, but overall, just from, there's a hair here, just from using this palette once, I can already tell that the shadows that I used very much match how I felt about Ensley and the Harvest Moon palette. So I did really enjoy this palette. Let me go get the other palettes and we can have a little chat about which one I like the most. Really did enjoy this one though, but it's a little bit pricey as well. Let me get the other ones. Okay, so overall, I liked all the looks that I did with these palettes. I think with these two palettes, I wish that the mattes had a little bit more grip to them. And with these, I wish that the mattes were a little bit more pigmented and also maybe had a little bit more grip to them, because that would help with the the layering, but I think I prefer the mattes in this one, just in my opinion. Again, I told you that if you like a really silky, almost that like, yes, super smooth formula, this is that. I prefer something that has a little bit more grip. I do like this color story, but it's leaning a little bit on the mauve neutrals, so I think that I do prefer the color story of this one, and the shimmers in this, it is insane. And I really like the mix between the green and the red. I think that is super fun. With the Bella Beauté bar, I love the quality of Bella Beauté bar. I just wish that this one had a couple of light shades in there, but again, it wasn't the theme of this palette, so I totally get it. And I think honestly that these two together would be amazing, because I really like the mix of the light ones and the dark ones. And again, this one has 3 dark ones and like maybe 2-3 midtones, and the rest are pastels. And again, I like something that's more mattes than shimmers. So I'm finding it hard to decide which one of these would be my favorite. I think my favorite is maybe mixing them together, which honestly would be pretty amazing. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about these? Which one is your favorite? Did you pick any of them up? Or if you're shopping your stash to create any of these looks from the palettes that you already own, I would love to hear which one you picked out. But yeah, I hope you're having a great day. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again tomorrow for new makeup releases. Bye!